Welcome to the Budget Mom YouTube channel. I'm Kamiko Love from thebudgetmom.com, and we have Ryan back today, and we're going to be doing another monthly budget recap. Now, this is where we take you with us to show you where our dollars went in our real lives, our real dollars, our real numbers, and we're going to be going over our June budget and what happened to our finances in June. Yep. So we talk anything from savings goals to Ryan's debt payoff, our budget numbers, everything in between. So let's show you our June budget recap. Okay, so where did our dollars go in June? Well, for me, I did something kind of spontaneous.
Yeah.
I used some sinking funds that basically I didn't need or didn't have a plan to use.
Okay.
So one of them being, I have a sinking fund for a beauty procedure that I get called Dysport. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Botox, but I get it done about every 6 months. Clothing sinking fund that I didn't plan on using, buying any new clothes. And then some of my vacation savings. What did I do with all of that savings? I got my eyebrows microbladed in June. So the procedure was about $400. So I did use quite a bit of my sinking funds. And we'll be talking about later on in this video whether I thought and think it was worth it.
Ooh, I'm interested because I don't even know.
I know I had a lot of readers reach out to me. They're like, I've been wanting to do that for so long. Yeah. What was the experience like? Do you think it was worth it? So I'm going to be going into all of that using those different savings.
Right.
Do I feel like that purchase was worth it? So that's what we're going to see. My beauty was over.
Kind of wacky.
But other than that, June was a crazy month for me as far as me just doing fun summer activities, a lot more driving. I was over my gas budget. I'll be showing you all of this when we look at my June budget numbers. What happened with you?
Nothing, honestly. The only thing that I remembered was my boyfriend surprised me with like a little...
Yes.
We used it to celebrate our anniversary. That was at the end of June. So we went about 3 hours to a little town called Leavenworth, and he rented a cabin. So we were there. I did use I spent about $160 there that I just decided to cash flow. I do have a vacation sinking fund, but I just decided to cash flow.
No, when you say cash flow, it came from your paycheck.
Yep, it just came from I want to say it came from my June 5th paycheck, so I just budgeted it in that paycheck. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it was a pretty normal month.
Now, if you didn't throw that money towards this little trip, where would that money have gone?
Debt, for sure.
Debt. Okay.
Yeah.
So you decided in June to spend more money, a little bit more money towards the Leavenworth trip.
Yep.
And not so much towards debt.
Yep.
And that's the thing. Your priorities can change month to month to month. This is what we call a realistic budget. It's deciding what your priorities are based on that paycheck that you are receiving. Because let's be honest, every single budget you create should be different.
Oh my gosh, yes.
It should, and if you're looking back at your budget recaps, every single one should be different.
Yeah.
Why? Because different crap is happening in our lives.
I know, things just pop up.
Yeah, every single time. This is how you implement a budget into your life. Mm-hmm. It's not just about creating the budget. That's the easy part.
Right.
Doing all that research, getting it and writing down your budget is the easy part. What's the hardest part is learning how to implement that. And that's a question I get, is how do you stick to a budget? You stick to a budget because when you create a budget that is aligned with what's happening in your real life, and you teach yourself ways to be prepared for that, like Ryan cash flowing instead of choosing not to put more towards debt.
Yeah.
That was a conscious decision that she made in order to make her budget work for what's really happening in her life and what's important to her now. And this is the thing that we get hung up on, is feeling that guilt of, the guilt of, I should have put that money towards my debt, but you know what? I'm choosing to live now.
Exactly.
When's the next time your boyfriend's going to surprise you to a trip to Leavenworth? And should you really deny yourself that because of that guilt that it should have went towards debt? Exactly. I don't believe so.
Yeah, same.
I don't believe so. And if you've been following the Budget Mom for a while, then you know my philosophy is life is too short to constantly feel in this state of go, 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 hustle, 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 hustle.
Right.
Remember, we should be able to feel joy from the money that we do have. So how do we do that? We use the money we have for things that are important to us. Right?
Yep.
There are probably thousands of you out there who would rather put that money towards debt than go to Leavenworth.
Right.
right? And guess what? That just means we're different individuals.
That's okay, yeah.
With different priorities,
Yeah.
and that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's why I love showing these budget recaps, because it really does show the customization and the individualism
Yep.
between people's budgets.
For sure. I totally agree with that.
And there's no right or wrong here.
Right. And that's the best part.
There's no judgment
Yeah.
here, right? It's just like Ryan went on a sweet ass trip.
I know, right? I
With
just went
her
on a last
boyfriend.
minute trip. Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't go into debt for it. You
Right.
know? Yeah.
She didn't go into debt for it. She had the money for it. So one of the things when you feel that guilt of, I should have put my money towards this, one of the things you have to remember is your budget has your back.
Yeah,
Remember,
totally,
we create budgets to have stability in our lives. Where does stability come from? Stability comes from our freedom to have options.
Mm-hmm.
And then you ultimately making that final decision of what you want to do with those options based on what's important to you.
Right.
Anyway, so let's jump into our June budget recap. Okay, so first thing we're going to look at my June budget. And now I'm using the box set booklets, which is why it's a little bit smaller than what you see Ryan using the full-size Budget by Paycheck workbook. Now, there are 3 worksheets that we go over when we do our budget recap. They're called the Where Did My Money Go worksheets. And we get a lot of questions like, Mika, where do you pull all this information from? From tracking my spending. It all comes from my cash and my checking account expense tracker. Okay, that's why you see me adding up all of my expenses here. So I just translate all of that spending into these 3 worksheets that help me analyze and look at my spending on a deeper level. So let's look at my monthly budget category breakdown. Now my monthly income was $7,005, but that wasn't all earned income. What does my total monthly inflow consist of? Well, it consists of my starting balance, which was $955, which was in my checking account the first day I started my tracking period. I had earned income of $5,000, other income of $600, and saving used of $450, which gave me $7,005.
Yep.
Now, if it's in red here, I spent over my monthly budget, which the budget by paycheck method is you're budgeting every single time you get paid. That's why you're only seeing me with one budget, because I only get paid on the first of every month. With Ryan, you're going to see 2 budgets.
Right.
So I was over in my gas and car, which gas right now for me is crazy. I'm spending around $250 a month on gas.
Wow.
Which is a huge jump from my $100 that I used to budget for. $69 I was over for James, and that's because I bought him a math program.
Oh, for the summer? That's
For the
a good
summer.
idea. That's
It's like
really
a
good idea.
game, but it's all about math and numbers and learning. He can play online with his friends. It's really great.
Oh, wow.
So I'd rather have him do that.
Right.
So that's why that's a little bit high. So savings is more than what I thought, which is always good.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course I was $515 over my beauty category because of getting my eyebrows microbladed. Now, all of my expenses equal 5,864. What confuses people is you have to include your starting balance for July in this.
Right.
Which I'm going into July with 1141 in my checking account. That's unused money just sitting in my checking account. This is my checking account cushion.
Yep.
Checking account cushion, okay, which gives me 7,005. So all of my expenses match my income, zero-based budget. Mm-hmm. For my monthly debt and savings breakdown, I don't have debt, so I track my investments. I invested 16% of my income.
Wow.
I saved 31% of my income. Now for my investments, they just went to 2 of my non-retirement accounts and my 529. Now I do have a 401k, but that's through my business budget, which I keep separate from my personal budget.
Right, okay.
So I am contributing max to my 401k for retirement. And then on a continuous basis, I'm doing money to my non-retirement accounts and my 529 for my son.
Wow.
Now, my savings was a little bit wonky. I did 82% of the money I saved went towards sinking funds.
Wow.
14% went towards my landscaping. Now, what I'm doing with my landscaping sinking fund is I'm just all unused cash from my cash envelopes every month is going towards landscaping.
Okay.
So it's not a line item in my budget. It's just whatever's left in my cash envelopes.
Right, I see.
Now, on my monthly spending comparison, what I spent in June compared to May, if it's in green, I spent less than, and if it's in red, I spent over in June what I did in May. Now, May was weird because my property taxes came out.
Oh, that's right. I was just about to ask what that
Yeah.
figure
my property taxes came out.
That's
So
right.
of course I spent way less
Right.
in my household in June than I did in May. But I spent more in food this month, more towards my savings, obviously more toward my health and beauty. And then I had a little bit more of a starting balance, which just means my checking account cushion grew.
Yeah.
So
So really, beauty was kind of the one that
beauty was my one.
different or odd.
Yes, beauty was a little
Yeah.
bit off for me. So nothing too crazy. I
Right.
did have an income change of
Oh, that was your property taxes.
yeah,
huh?
because I used my property tax savings in May, so my inflow into my life looked really large. It was
Yeah.
like $15,000.
Right.
But so it went down by 8,000, which is normal. I'm back to my normal again.
Right.
So this is my monthly spending comparison. What does this teach me when I do this? So when you are creating a budget month to month, you should be setting short-term goals for yourself.
Right.
You should be going into the new month saying, okay, here's what happened to me, say in May, and this is what I'd like to change in June.
Yeah.
This lets you see if you are accomplishing those small goals for yourself, but not only that, any type of trends, month to month trends that you may not be aware of. That's why I like filling this out. It's like, oh dang, I spent $600 more on beauty than last month. What the heck happened there?
Yeah.
It makes you ask those questions. You just a different way to see your spending on when you're comparing month to month like
and
this.
in your case too, Miko, you can even see you spent a lot more than your budgeted amount on your gas for 2 months. You
Yep.
know? So that's kind of
Yep.
a flag of okay.
Yeah,
up
like
that.
exactly. Like in May, I spent $259. In June, it's $196.
Yeah.
I can tell myself, okay, that's happened 2 months in a row.
Right.
It's time to tweak my budget, increase my gas category, and decrease another area of my budget that isn't as important as, say, gas.
Right.
Right? All right, so let's look at Ryan's.
Okay, so here is my monthly budget category breakdown. As you can see, my starting balance was 43395. I had incoming income. Now, all of this was earned income. I didn't use any sinking funds or had any other income going in. So this was all earned for my total monthly income of 4359. Everything here in green means that I was under budget. Everything here in red means I was over budget. I just realized I forgot to highlight that red. But everything in red is over budget. I was under in pretty much a lot, which I was really surprised about when I closed up my budget because I thought I was way over compared to my budgeted amount. I was over though in debt and savings, which is both good. I put $1481 towards debt in June and let's see, $841 towards savings in June. So I was really happy about that. And that kind of what I was talking about earlier, you know, I decided to cash flow my vacation, but I still put 34% of my income towards debt, which is, I think honestly, probably one of the best months as far as debt payoff goes that I've had. So I'm really happy about that. I was under in food, which is always a win. Gas, I was under, and I kind of thought about why I was under. I realized when my boyfriend and I went on that trip, that was probably like 4 or 5 days that I wasn't driving. We took his car. So I think that had a really big impact on my gas budget. Yeah, other than that, I was really happy with my spending. I was off by $4, which is fine. It's $4, so I'm just gonna forget about it and move on to July. As far as my monthly debt and savings breakdown goes, like I said, my total monthly income was 4359. Percent of income towards debt was 34%, and again, I'm really happy towards that. I did have, and this is new, I did have a credit card yearly fee that I put as debt. That was $95, and I do have one. It's a Capital One Venture card, so it's for air miles that I don't use, but I do have air miles on there, and I keep telling myself that I want to use it again to start using the air miles. So we'll see what comes up in the later months, but that's what this $95 was. So towards my student loans, I put 1387, which was about 94% of that 34%. For savings, I saved 19% of my income, which I'm also really happy about. $552 towards sinking funds, $189 towards the challenge, and $100 to my emergency fund, which I do every single month. Okay, and then my monthly spending comparison, so comparing June to May, I did have a decrease of income of $365.38. I did use sinking funds in May, so that is probably what that discrepancy is from May to June's income. Other than that, everything here in green means that I spent less in June than I did in May. Everything in red means I spent more in June. So as you can see, most of the categories I did spend less in June than I did in May. Besides debt, I was about $4 more in June for food, which isn't a big deal. $3 more in miscellaneous, which also isn't really a big deal. But debt and savings, I did put more towards both of those categories in June compared to May. So overall, it was just a great month, and I'm really happy with the progress.
So that is a quick rundown of our June budget numbers. Now, Ryan, tell me, where do you think you'll be at the end of this year with your student loans?
Okay.
Oh,
I am on track to have them paid off by February completely.
February of next year.
Yes,
Okay.
but that is if I don't put any like Christmas money towards it. Mm-hmm. So I could have it paid off. The earliest I could have it paid off if I went like hard is December. Which is so crazy
there's
to
a
me.
possibility
I can't believe it's already June. I mean,
know.
July now.
I know. So there's a possibility that Ryan could be debt-free
Yeah.
coming
by the end
soon.
Of the year.
Yes. Okay.
It's so weird.
Toby? Okay, so for me, let's talk about my microblading. Do I think it was worth it? So in the beginning, when I first got them done, they were really dark and it scared the crap out of me.
They were very dark.
They were very dark
Yeah.
and they were very dominant.
Yes.
I'm like, this was probably not a good
They
idea.
were. They definitely
But
were.
she reassured me that it was just due to the blood flow in that area and that it would die down and they would lighten up, and they completely did. Mm-hmm. Do I think it was worth the $400? Yes and no. And here's my reasoning. Because I had pretty good eyebrows to begin with.
You did, Miko, and I was always jealous.
Yeah, I mean, there was a few places that I'd have to pencil in if I really wanted to, but
Right.
it wasn't anything drastic.
And you never had to like get them waxed or
No.
anything. Yeah.
So I had good eyebrows. Now, if I didn't have good eyebrows to begin with, I would probably
Right.
think differently.
Right.
However, I did think that it made a difference. Mm-hmm. I like them. I'm okay with that purchase.
Right.
Does it hurt? No. It just feels like someone's plucking your eyebrows.
Would you do it again?
Yes, I would do it again.
Okay, there you
I would
have
do
it,
it. I
people.
would do it again.
Yeah.
Anytime I make it was kind of a spontaneous purchase.
It was. I remember
It
that.
literally
I
was
remember
that day. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this.
I remember that.
And anytime I make a purchase like that, I always, when it's all said and done, I'm like, okay, would I do it again?
Right.
And did it bring value into my life to justify me spending that type of money on it?
Right.
Yes. I would do it again. Do I feel overly excited about them? No, because I had pretty good eyebrows to begin with.
Exactly.
So I guess it just comes from the perspective of the person getting it done.
Yeah.
So I have no other spontaneous purchases left going on that I'm going to be making. July is we're going to be doing our July recap soon.
I know.
It's crazy. It's nuts. So June budget recap. If you found this video helpful, please like it and don't forget to subscribe. My name is Kamiko. Oops, okay, we'll start that over.
That's different.
It's been a while. Toby, lay down.
Hot breath is so gross.
It smells like
I know.